Hello. Hello. Right, we are going to be making these note cards today. So this is part of the May Craft Along, which is a day of virtual workshops. So if you've got your Craft Along kit, then you're looking for the pack with your note cards kit on top, and you can open that up. And what you'll have is everything you need. It's quite a big package. Everything you need to make 4 cards. So I've got this one made already, and then I've got the kits for 3 more. So I'm going to make 1 to start off with, and then I'll see. Let me just turn that screen down. Sorry. So I've got it. I can see what you're seeing on a separate screen over here, just with a slight delay. And so yeah, if you've got any questions while I'm making this, do feel free, and you're watching live, do feel free to put them in the live chat, and I can answer them in the video. So, but if you are watching this on a replay in the future, and you've got any questions, do please just put them in the comments, or you can reach out to me on my Facebook or Instagram page. Just look for @DellaByDesign. Or you can find me, or you can email me at della@dellabydesign.co.uk. Always happy to answer any crafty questions and any ideas you have about how these kits can be made. So we're looking at this note card. This design is inspired by the Dreamy Pastels kit, which is this original card, which we made in a workshop earlier today, so you can go back and watch that video if you wish. So that is where we started. Now the idea is I've taken the elements from here and I've adapted them into these note card sets. So what you can do is, with this kit, you can make this. Yes, and I will explain how as we go. But for the craft along, you will have the kit with all the bits you need already prepped and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this card from the advanced kit. But if you've got the beginner's kit, then you'll have the flowers already cut out for you, and the background of the card. So you see these little white dots on the back. So that is done with this Liquid Pearls paint, and that has been done for you in the beginner's kit, and in the advanced kit you get the paint as well, so you can add that. So but because it's in the background, you need to do that first and let them dry. So today I have got 3 cards already with the dots on. So I would recommend, if you're watching this video, I'll show you how to do it on a separate bit of card. If you want to add that first and then come back to the video, it takes about 2 or 3 hours to dry completely. So worth doing that in advance, because it's a lovely added layer to this design. But I will show you how to do that as well, but we won't be needing to do that today because I've already pre-done them. So just to run through what you have in your kits, I'm going to have to make this up a little bit, because this is 3 kits and 1 card, whereas you've got 4 kits. So what you will have is 1 flower in each colour, so those 3 plus the pink. You'll have the centres. So what I've done is they've all got cream centres, apart from the cream one, which has a pink centre. And then you'll have lots of these. I think I did 16 in total of these little rainbow strips. So we don't need to use them all, but so there's some short ones and longer ones, so we can trim those down, but that should be enough. And then for these strips, you should have 4 of each colour. And then on 4 of them, you'll have, so a pink one will say best wishes, a blue one will say thinking of you, the cream one just for you, and on your special day for the purple one. Now so make sure you find those ones, and if you want to make those cards, fab, go ahead. But if you don't want to make it with those sentiments on, then you can always just flip them over when you're making. Or if you've got other stamps you want to use, you can add your own message on there, or you can handwrite it on there. And if you want to practice on that, you can practice on these ones, and then if it doesn't go right, you can just turn it over. It's always good to have a backup plan if it doesn't quite go well. So my intention was to have the special day with the purple, that with the cream, so that to match the flower. And let me just arrange these ones, make sure I've got the right number. I feel like I've checked these again and again over the last few weeks. Every time I sort of reorganise my table and shuffle things around, I'm like, let me just check. It's those three and those three. Excellent. So, right, let me start off by showing you how we add these droplets on. So I did explain this in the workshop this morning, but I'll just do a brief one. So whenever you're using liquid pearls, I recommend having a bit of scrap paper or card nearby. And what you want to do is undo this. So it comes with a very small nozzle at the top, which is perfect for making these little drops. And you're going to squeeze onto the card. So if it's new, it won't take much squeezing. But if it's been used for a little while, you'll get to the point where you've got to squeeze it quite hard. See, I'm squishing it. So you hold the bottle upside down and squeeze. Now do a few practice ones on the scrap paper first, because that sort of avoids any air bubbles that are in there. Gets those out of the way, and make sure you've got it behaving well. So what I do is with the end of the tip of it, I place that onto the surface. It's actually touching, so it's not straight down, it's off to one side, it's on an angle, and then I squeeze the tube until I can see the paint coming out, and then I lift up, and that gives it a little peak at the top, which does flatten down into the dome. But I'll make sure it goes up so it's not dragging off to the side. So once you've practiced it a few times, you're happy with the technique. So the longer you squeeze it, the bigger the drops become. And then when you go to do it on the card, I've just done it in a kind of random pattern across. Doesn't have to be too neat, because you're going to be covering it over with more detail. And just make sure whenever you stop and let go of the bottle again, before you start doing it again, make sure you test it on the scrap paper again, squeeze it and get the pressure just right before you go on to the main one. And then I'm going to clear. So it takes, like I say, it takes 2 hours. I think officially says 1 to 2 hours, but I like to leave it overnight so that I'm absolutely confident that it's dried. So you can put it to one side, make sure you don't put anything on top of it. Don't leave it somewhere that someone's going to be tidying and shuffle it around, or put something on top. So make sure it's somewhere safe. And you can do all 4 of your backgrounds. So we're just going to use one for now. Actually, we don't need it just yet. So let's make the purple one. Let's do that. So to start off with, because we've got the big advanced kit here, what I'll do is need to cut out the flower and the centre. So let me move this up so you can see. So using a small pair of sharp scissors, I'm just going to cut around the black line. If you don't, so I'm fussy cutting here right against the black line. If you'd prefer, you can bubble cut just around the petals in sort of just a soft shape. That's absolutely fine. And then if you've got the beginner's kit, then they're already cut out for you. And so a couple of tips for this kind of fiddly cutting is to hold the scissors still and rotate the card. So there I'm going into the middle and then twisting the card to come back out again. And also just to snip off any excess cards. So imagine if this is all still attached, it gets in the way of being able to use the scissors. So I think in the advanced kit, I think I've given you the full flowers, not just the centres like these. So if you wanted to, you could mix and match with some different colours, or you could cut them out whole and use more flowers and just decorate the centres, or leave them as they are. Up to you, but I like having the contrast on these. There we go, and then nice and simply just to cut around the centre. So again, just hit the outside of that black line and rotating the card rather than the scissors, and snipping off the excess. Okay, got those two, put that to one side. So add some glue to the centre. Now because I know, so rather than adding the glue onto the flower centre and then like delicately trying to drop it on top, because I know exactly where that's going to go, I'm going to add the glue to the flower instead. And this is not technically glue, it's called Glossy Accents. It works like that, the silver pearlescent paint, but is designed to dry clear. So it can be like little like dewdrops or raindrops, or you can sort of paint it on and create a sort of glossed finish. But it also works very well as a glue, and it stays wet for a little while, so it gives you time to move things around once it's done. But when it's first put on, you see I was stalling for time then. If I put it on straight away, it would have just slid out of the sides, so it gives it a bit of time. So that's, we're just going to let that dry there, and then we're going to create our grid. So I'm going to arrange it, so I'm going to make sure I've got the greeting the right side round, and then you can choose what way you want this to be. So one should go over, one should go under, and then you get your square. Alright, now what I'm looking for is this empty space in the corner to sort of create a square in that gap, and that should give us the right amount of space. So once I've got it all lined up, there we go. I'm going to start adding a bit of glue onto these. So I'm just going to move that away and add a little bit of glue. So again, the way that this moves, it means gives me a bit of freedom to move bits about. I'll let it dry, which I'm itching to do the next bit, but I will be patient. I'm already going to get myself in a sticky mess. I'll add some. And let's add this on top. So I'm using a glass craft mat here, so it doesn't matter if I get the glue on, but if you're worried about whatever surface you're using, just put a bit of scrap paper down underneath these bits. Let that dry. It has suddenly, I know I was complaining about it raining here earlier today in these workshops, but it's now really cold. Which I think the forecast is still like 20 degrees tomorrow. Can't quite imagine how we're going to get to that. Put a little bit of glue on there. So you see it can still move. It's also quite handy with this having the grid lines on here, so you can line up and keep it straight. And then that one's going to go over the top. Just be patient. Let that dry. Again, let's just line up with the lines underneath. And then I'm going to wait until all three of those are dry before trying to manoeuvre the next one. But what I want to do is just make sure before it dries hard and we can't move it, that each of those is straight. There we go. So then we have a little walkthrough on how we can make these from here. So obviously the flowers are the same that are in this kit. So you can take the flowers and you can cut out the centres to make this different design. Then the rainbow strips, they're the same. These are slightly shorter and don't have the double-sided tape ends, but that's just because we're sticking them in a different way this time. But you'll find to use those. And then these strips here, you can cut them in half. Did I do it exactly in half, or did I do it? Yeah. So you can cut them in half. Ideally with a guillotine, if you've got to slice them in half. And then just, if you've got the beginner's kit, you can just slice off the ends, or you can keep one on. Could have that going round. Because they are slightly shorter than that. And then you can make that design, this design, on a larger card like this with the envelope, or if you've got other cards or other envelopes at least, then you can always trim the card down to make this cute note card. Right, I think this should be quite solid now. So I'm going to flip it over and just bend those to flip that last one over. It's like folding over like the lid on a cardboard box when you're trying to do that last little bit to flip it under. So, and then I'm just going to lift up the pink and add a little bit of glue underneath. And I hold it up for a bit, just let the glue cure for a while. I'm going to keep it this way up. I'm tempted to turn it over, but I'm going to keep it this way up because I want to make sure that no glue comes out and is visible on the front. Gently push that down. And then the next step is going to be to add these stripes on the back. So what's quite nifty about this card is the square grid is raised up, but also these lines are raised up. So if you see that, so you get that shadow rather than being flat on the back of the card, they're at the same height as the square grid. So you get that lovely 3D effect as you turn it because they're just slightly raised up. And that's because they are stuck onto the back of this. So, push those all down, make sure they're not coming through. It's all good. And then let's get some of these. So like I said, there's I think 4 of these per card in your kit, which should be plenty. And the first one goes from corner to corner. So again, you don't have to do this design. You could do it in a crisscross, you could weave it across, you could do, what did it say, south? I'm doing grid boards then. So southwest to northeast, or northwest to southeast. Did I say the same thing twice? I don't know. You know what I mean. So let's add, I'm going to keep it the same as this one for now. So I'm going to put it like that, because for some reason this is confusing me when I turn it over. There we go. I'll do it the way around. And I'm going to add some double-sided tape to here. And then this first one will stretch from one to the other, so it'll be the right length. Yay. Beautiful. Now I'm going to space out 2 more. So these ones are going to go over, but that's fine. There and there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some double-sided tape all the way around. So this is what I call a glue mouse. So it's from stuff you're just about to sing your phrases and you get stuck. So it basically dispenses double-sided tape. So it's quick and easy. Mess fiddly. That's on the back. It doesn't matter. My perfectionist coming in there. And so we're going to lay this on. So you're going for, you want to put 2 on each side. So you want to space them out and let it go over. That's absolutely fine. And again with this side. And then just bend it back and just cut. Doesn't have to be neat, just need to cut within the square grid. And then for the last one, this should do 2. So we're going to go halfway across that gap. So if you want to, actually, I think it's accurate enough that you can cut it in half first if you wish. And then have that last one across there. And we'll turn it over to reveal. Beautiful. It's all very sticky on the back. So next you're going to do is you're going to raise this up. So in your kit you'll have these foam pads, they're double-sided, and I'm going to add the corners diagonally. More there. And then to keep them lifted, I think that's what I did on here. Oh, just the one. I'm going to add one into the middle point of each side. It's quite sticky. Now, so for the last bit on this, because where we put in the flower in the centre, I think initially I was like, oh, let me put the backing on here straight off. But we actually want to, you don't want to put anything sticky on the back of here that's going to stick and push the grid down. We want to keep that elevated. So what we're going to do, so if you're happy that we're going to put it in the centre, you might change your design, you might put it off to one side. I'm going to stick with the centre, and on the back I'm going to place gently one of these. So if I push it down hard, it would stick to the glass mat. So I'm just going to do it gently, like that, and then that, yeah, that's right. So it's sticking on that side, so that when we stick the flower on top, it's lifted. So we can now take off all these backing papers from here. Let me just make a little pile. Then they're plasticky, so they're not recyclable. So I'll try and keep them separate to the paper. Across. I've done them all now. So make sure your card's the right way around, and you can add that on. Just got something sticky on there before I press any harder onto it. So line that up and just get this into the centre. Stick that down. So the foam pads are quite unforgiving on being restuck, so it's a one go for that one. It doesn't peel off very easily. So now we're going to add another foam pad on top of that one before adding the flower on top. And it's sticky, so we've made a little sandwich, and it means it's a full level of stick for the flower. And add that on top. Well, isn't that beautiful? So that's the second one. Now I've got a bit of a dilemma, because I want to I'd love to make them all the same so that you've got like a matching set, but at the same time a bit more exciting if we did something different, isn't it? But it could go wrong. Let's have a think. Tell you what, I'll start cutting out these flowers. So if you want to make them the same, then obviously you can do that now. Class dismissed. But I'm going to make these other two, and I might wimp out and just keep them the same. But let me start cutting these out and have a little think. If you've got any suggestions, do add them in the comments. Even if it's after this video, it's always something that I can go and revisit with other designs. Time's on my side because I haven't got to leave for the school run until 3:20, and by my calculation that is, wow, 50 minutes away. Time is definitely on my side. So we've talked about some simple variations, like changing the way the stripes go in the background. Stripes could be straight up, straight down, they could be in a cross. nice if you keep the grid. I do like the grid. And the free, like keeping the things up in 3D. Cutting off camera. Also really intrigued to see what this one looks like with the pink centre. So we've got the backgrounds done for the other two. Oh, very like sunflower vibes. Very cute. So we've got the Just For You. We've got 8 of those that we can use. Oh, could have bubble cut. Show you the difference. Oh, I've had an idea. Something I saw on, can't take it all the credit for it, something I saw on Pinterest. It was with a long thin card rather than a square one. I wonder. How it would look. Right. Oh no, one more to do. Just that middle bit. Okay, so what I want to be careful of is not using double my resources. So I'm going to make sure I've got one set aside. Let's do the Just For You. Let me have a little play. Technically I could use these from here. But no. The idea is to bring in lots of little dashes from the side. I wonder if I want to cut these in half. So if that was in half, I'd get double, and we'd get some of those. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this all off camera. My head's all like focusing on what I'm doing now. So I think I'm going to do that, and then that'll be in the middle, and the just for you be there. Okay. I'm going to use the guillotine for this one. Let me move that to one side. Bring the guillotine up. It's exciting. I have to watch out for the camera. I have to move the camera up a little bit. The height of the guillotine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by chopping this off. So I'm going to make the greeting is just going to be the just for you on its own. So I'm going to slice that down. Make sure you're happy that it's square like that. And that leaves us that one, and I'm going to cut these. Actually, these don't need to be. Oh, might as well. As I've got the guillotine, let's cut them in half. Great. I'll have to see if I can find that. It was on Pinterest. It might have been just on my Facebook feed. But it was a video about using up scraps. So I was using these little strips of any card colours or different patterns. And you'll see how I put them together. So put that to one side and that. So what we're going to do is create a decorative edge. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough to go to the very top and bottom, so I'm going to start in the middle to make sure. In fact, what's the best way to glue these? I think it's going to be with wet glue because of the bobbles. If it was flat, I'd put a strip of double-sided tape, but I'm going to start that in the middle. I'm going to overlap it. Actually, I might just use the grid on the craft mat. You come up a little bit higher to make sure I'm happy that that's straight. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on the back of here. And layer these up. So I'm going for sort of a higgledy-piggledy pattern. But I want to do rainbow, not rainbow, rainbow. Let me cut that down there. Okay, yeah, these should be cut down as well. Start with that. So I need to be careful where the cream one goes because I've only got this bit of cream, so I need to make sure it's going to be nicely balanced on both sides. So let's glue that one there. I forgot the pattern. Let's add a rainbow one in. Blue. Just want to make sure I've got room at the bottom. I wonder if any of these are thinner. It'd be nice if it finished flush against the base. If not, we can trim it down. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So let's take this one. Pink. Should it be pink? Should be pink. Hang on. I'll stick the purple at the top. Oh, I think the pink's slightly bigger. We can trim that. Let's trim down the top. So the idea is I'm going to let that dry, and then we're going to slice off the edge. So even it's a large pair of sharp scissors or a guillotine, and some double-sided tape, which I think will be better if it's actual tape and not glue mouse. So let me just find the tape. So this is the magic video. Oh, it's slightly too long or too wide. So it's just too wide on that blue bit. So I'm going to do something I shouldn't do and use these scissors. Let me find. I'm trying to avoid using the scissors on sticky things. I've got these ones though. Take a chunk out of that. That's all enough. Yeah. I'm going to lie this on the edge. Oh, slightly too long. There we go. And then now for the magic trick. So all that glue should be drying out, so I'm going to use my guillotine to slice through this edge. So you can take a sharp pair of scissors along if you wish. It's slightly over on the, it's actually slightly over top and bottom, and doesn't look that bad, like it's deliberately done, like it's like the bricks on don't know what they're called, like decorative, like the corner bricks on a building. And they stick out slightly. And the idea is that you then have a counter one for the other side. However, slightly longer because I was being a bit stingy with how much I put on here. So I'm going to trim that down. How am I going to trim it down? I think that one is too long. I'll do a little bit by hand, I think, because I think the cream is too long. I think that'd be alright if I just bring it back a little bit. Oh, I like just this blue. I'm going to bring the blue back. And I'm just going to trim it down. It looks a little bit heavy on that side. So I'm just going to trim this down a little bit. Oh, that does make a lovely strip. I wonder if we can use that somewhere as well. I really want to like flip the colours so that it's the reverse, but you can't do that. It's like you see, it's matching. But yeah, maybe if you made 2 cards, then you could take one from the other and then mix and match. So now I'm going to. So if this was a flat card, I'd just peel that off and stick it on. It'd be fine. But because we've got the bobbles, I'm just going to add a little bit of wet glue on the ends, just to make sure it stays attached. How cute is that? And it's already on double-sided tape, so we can just add that on if we wish. Maybe we could use that to decorate the envelope. Or was that using offcuts to like line the envelope or add some decoration around the seal? Sorry, I'm just peeling off the back of this. I've got very short nails at the moment. I cut them all off. Ooh, it gets quite wobbly. Oh, this is going to be fun. Right, okay. In hindsight, I should have left. Let me show you a trick. Let me rewind. Stick that back on. Okay, so trick is if you've got a long strip, or even like a big square piece of card and you've got strips of double-sided tape, is if you've got a long side, just fold out the tape like that, and then you can lay whatever it is you're sticking. Remember, this came slightly below, didn't it? So you can lay that down, hold, and then this top bit is actually sticky, so that will stick down. And then hold it in place on this side, and then you can peel. It's just ripped. Oh, it doesn't rip. You can peel that side off. Yay! Really like that. Okay. And then the plan is to add this into the centre. Just going to see what it looks like, see if it needs anything more or whether we're happy with that with our just for you underneath. So what I have got is some more rainbow. So I wonder whether just a rainbow frame, top and bottom, would be nice. Bring that down. I didn't like that, the cream being in line with that cream. I'll tell you what, I think I could probably make a grid underneath. Think of that 3 lines underneath. I think that'd be quite cute. Okay, let's commit and do this. I'm going to stick the centre onto the flower, and again I'm adding the glue to the flower, not the centre, because I know where it's going to go. And then I'm going to add some foam pads to the back of the just for you. I think I'll fit 3 on there because it's just big enough. Top. And then once that's dry, I'll flip it over and put the foam pad on. And then I want these to be all the same length, but I don't want them to be the same pattern. So I flip those round. Flip that over and add that onto the back. Okay. So I'm going to add a thin line. Didn't go well, and I've got some on there, so I can use another bit. That's fine. Use that one instead. Hold it a bit better this time. I've got a little bit of seepage of the glue, so I'm just going to get this pokey tool. This is normally when I'm designing new cards, I can figure out all the things that don't quite work and find different ways of doing them. But doing it live. And before I stick that down, I'm just going to cut this to size, because otherwise I won't know how long. a little bit. Peel that off so we're ready. Well, the bit should edit out the video afterwards. Right, so this is ready to stick on top. Oh, very quaint. Like that a lot. Oh, I'm going to be pushed to make something else now, I've got that in mind. So let's have a look at the last card. We've got this, haven't we? Shouldn't use it on that. It's very cute. So you put it on the inside, strip along the bottom, over on the back, and there we have. So we've got one more card. Let's see what. So we've got the blue Thinking of You. So just going to lay these out and see if I've got any ideas. Make sure I've got one of everything rather than extras. Yeah, so 4 of these. Ah, so I wonder if we put the stripes on top of these instead. We'd put those one on top. So the greeting, maybe the greeting is the 3rd one down, and then that just goes over that side. And that, so I'm hoping it doesn't cover up too much of the background. To be honest, it doesn't even need the flower. That's quite pretty. Where did the flower go? Unless we bring that back a little bit, so if I cut that down, the flower there. Work. So this is where I quite know if I'm playing around with layouts like this, I'd take a photo at this stage, rearrange it all, take another photo, rearrange it all, take another photo, and then even though in my mind I'm like, I like that one, I like this one, when I actually see them in my camera roll one after the other, quite often there's a clear winner that stands out. So I like that, so there's that option. Or we bring that back, bring that across, and actually put it in there. That looks like that's a bit more deliberate. Oh, I thought I was kind of hoping that the time delay would mean that I could see that on the other screen, but there's not enough time delay, so I can't see. I think I prefer that way. If I look back on the video, I'll be like, no. So I'm going to do that. What I'm going to do is I know these are only small, but I'm going to try and make them into little arrow tips. You can see that. And then on the other end, so let me just, oh, annoyingly that's, actually I might plan which one, actually they all finish on pink and purple. No, never mind. I think there's too much purple in them. That's my chance. So I'm going to try and cut this one into that kind of shape. I might change my mind and change it. Let's have a look how that looks. It's ever so slightly too long at the moment, I would say. So, do we like it as an arrow or do we want it as 2 points? I'm going to go for 2 points. Okay, I'm going to do the same with these. I'm going to come back to the purple, I think so. Now I'm going to line it up with this one so I know that I get the same length. Careful not to cut the other one. And then this one. And then this one's just going to have one. So we can choose what colour we want it to be, which is quite nice. And I can change my mind because it doesn't need to be. I can cut another one out. So let's go with yellow. Yellow on the blue. Nice contrasting colour, stands out well. Trying to avoid the same colour combination on in a line. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so let's just glue this all together and then I can get to the school one, which is a little bit closer now. I have to say it's fine. So I'm going to glue, let's do this, I'm going to glue a line. That one, doesn't matter which way round because I can always flip the whole piece. I'm not putting too much pressure on it because I don't want the glue to come out the sides, but I'm just moving it back a little bit. too soon for that one. Let me get out my clever tool. Beautiful. Right, I'm going to add the centre of the flower. I think I'm going to add each of these strips is going to be on. Actually, should we just have the Thinking of You one on 3D? I think we'll do them all 3D. Lay that on there. Not going to press it yet. And I'm going to add foam pads to the back of these. Sorry, I'm probably working off camera again. I can tell sort of like my posture. I sort of like relax and lean back in my chair. Make sure that's sticking in the right place. That's good. So if you've got the notelets kit, which is only available as part of this craft along, however you could purchase the original Dreamy Pastels kit and then adapt as I've done here. I'd love to see what you make, or even if you just have your own supplies and you just take this idea of a flower stamp or strips of card, then I'd love to see what you create. I'm going to glue this on first. Let that dry for a little bit, and then what order of these in? Remind myself of the spacing. So I don't want the rainbow pattern to be in the same order, because I think once they're next to each other in the same order, it becomes very obvious. And I like the kind of haphazardness of it. I'm going to put this back on here just so I can see the position, and then just check. Sticky fingers from the foam pads. And lay those out till I'm happy that I've got like an even border. And then let's start peeling them off. I'm not far off needing to leave for the school one. This happened last time. It's always the longest workshop of the day is the one that is next to the school pickup. It's almost as if I don't want to go back to real life and stay here and craft. These off. Oh, I wonder, it's actually quite, I wonder if it's, see what it looks like with that blue being like sunken. troublesome one. No, I'm not. I was going to flip that round. I've got it in the same order, but it did not want to be flipped round. Let's see what that looks like with. Yeah, I quite like that. So it kind of like brings attention to it by being sunken down. Oh, did we lose connection? Apologies. My phone flashed up with low battery. Hopefully the connection will come back. Right, I think we're back on. Sorry about that. Right, so yeah, that's good to know. I've been charging the phone all day in between workshops. I knew it would be an issue, but not that much actually. I'm going to put some liquid glue on this one. So I can't know what I missed. So as I said, I'm going to put the this blue one directly onto the card. I quite like highlighting it by having it sort of sunken, rather than having them all raised up on foam pads. Make sure that's straight. And then put a foam pad on the back of the flower. So remember, if you're sending these in the post, you need to check whether the thickness of the foam pads pushes over. I think there are some occasions I'm like, that's okay, but yeah, it's worth paying for the large letter stamps instead, because there's nothing worse than someone getting a note saying that you've got a lovely handmade card, but you've got to go and pay the extra £1 to collect it. And there we have it. Let's fold that over. But all these designs can be made flat onto the card as well, so you can send. But I like that a lot. Very military, very straight lines. Beautiful. So let me just clear the decks, and then we can have a look at all of them. And what I will do is, tell you what, let's just do my little magic trick with some blue tack. So I end up doing these cards for, photos of cards when I've made them. Like, they weren't shoved because so this one was made about a month ago, so it's had time to relax into its fold. These need a little bit more encouragement. I'll just put a little bit on there. There we have it. Lift that off a bit as well. There we have the finished 4 cards. One kit, many ways, and then this is what we originally started with. That beautiful collection. So thank you ever so much for watching along. This is the May craft along. So we've had 3 workshops today, so if this is the first one you watched, you can go back and watch the other ones. We started with this one in the centre. We then went and made this Japanese inspired one, so like a cherry blossom, and then back for these 4. So do pop on in the comments and say hello, let me know where you're watching from, and if you make any of these cards either from the kits or from your own craft supplies and your own inspiration, then do drop me a message. You can email them to me at della@dellabydesign.co.uk, or find me on Facebook or Instagram. My handle is @dellabydesign, and I'd love to chat to you on there. happy crafting everyone, and enjoy.